My name is Kenna. I have Joe here. We're getting ready to do a pompadour, high volume on top. We want it nice and slick on the sides. And then we're also gonna be getting into doing a taper. We want it to be pretty contrasting on the sides to add, a little bit of flair to a long traditional type of haircut. Let's do it. First, I'm gonna start out by combing through the hair. I can feel his bone structure. I can see if he has any colics and which way the hair wants to go. And I'm gonna fully saturate the hair. That's gonna help keep everything very consistent and make it easier to section, manage, and be more workable. So after I saturate the hair and wet it down, I'm going to go from dominant growth pattern to recession line in the front. So I'm gonna start by placing my finger where I want the weight line to be. Most of the hair I want to kind of sit here because we're really just gonna do a taper and then taper out the back as well. So if I put my finger flat on the side of his head and I comb the hair into my fingers, at finger length here, I know my clipper is gonna connect to that when it's time for me to go through and do clipper work. But right now I'm setting the design, the structure, the foundation of my haircut. As you can see, this is the line that I'm following. Always making sure to cut straight in front of me, and that's gonna help me keep that rounded silhouette that I'm looking for. This line here is going to act as the guide for where my clippers are gonna stay below. So I worked my way to the back, and now I'm gonna go the opposite side and do the same thing. I'm going through and making sure that this is symmetrical and even on both sides, laying at the similar points of the head on both sides. So from here, I'm going to be taking horizontal sections. The left side is going to be connecting the perimeter on that side, and the right side is going to be connecting the perimeter on that side. It's very important that everything has its place and we're following the angles that we're putting into place. I'm taking a comb's width or less, and we're going for a rounded shape here. If I do anything that's larger than a comb's width, I'm gonna start over directing the hair, and the precision of the haircut isn't going to be the same. I'm gonna grab some hair from the left side. That's gonna act as my guide. Grab some from the right side here. So I'm going to continue those horizontal sections, connecting both the left and the right side, also while removing some of the extra length that we have going on here. Keeping the rounded shape towards the top, and the hair that we just cut in that section, we're combing it straight back to get it out of the way. Manipulating the hair and keeping control of it and keeping the hair organized, I think is something that I notice people struggle with most. So this process makes it so much easier, especially wetting down the hair, to have the hair go exactly where you need it to go and out of the way. The system's easier because you'll know exactly what you're cutting and what you're not cutting and where those extra hairs are going to stay. I want to keep the front a little bit longer, so as I get towards the front, I'm going to over direct it backwards. This is going to make it so that if you know the distance away from the head, if I were to keep going forward, it would be the same distance. But because I want this longer, I want to over direct it backwards because this distance to here is much longer than this distance to here. So now I'm going to start over directing that hair back towards his apex because I do want to keep it longer, as we spoke before. And we're going to take our last section. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I'm now going to go through and blow dry and start kind of styling. From there, I'm going to use my clippers once the hair is dry and do my tapers on both sides. And I'll also have a chance after the hair is dry to go in and do texturizing, point cutting, and kind of shatter those sharp lines that I made in order for the hair to mesh and kind of fall together rather than falling in onto itself. Once the hair is dry, I'll be able to go through and do a lot of detail, texture, and even more styling. Here I have our Tomb 45 indestructible clay. This is gonna provide hold, and it's gonna be very moldable as well as have a matte finish to it. I love this product because it's not greasy, it's not heavy, it's easy to wash out, it's easy to get off of your hands, and it's gonna be reworkable throughout the day. I can set a style in place here, and then as Joe goes throughout his day, if he wants to mess it up and move it to the side, he's more than able to do that with this product. I'm gonna take the product and place it in my hand, and I'm gonna use my body temperature and the heat that I produce to warm up the product, and it's gonna help spread it out throughout his hair. With his hair being wet, it's gonna help dilute the product, and it's really important to me that I make sure that it fully saturates and covers the hair. One of the mistakes I see people make is that they will just put it on the top, but we're gonna go every which way, get it in there, and then I'm gonna comb it through, and that's when I'm gonna start blow drying. Now that that's in and applied, I'm gonna comb it all the way through to make sure it's evenly distributed throughout the hair. I'm gonna get the hair on the top of his head out of the way so I don't have to worry about it, and I can really just focus on the hair on the sides of his head. One of the things that has helped me a lot when I'm learning how to style and manipulate the blow dryer with the hair and having one of the OP vent brushes in my hands is learning how to be ambidextrous. My elbows should be pretty close to being on my side as much as possible. With what side of the head I'm working on, I'm able to switch hands. I'm naturally left-handed, so when I'm going on my non-dominant side, the brush is in my hand and the blow dryer is in my right. When I'm on my dominant side, the vent brush is in my right hand and the blow dryer is in my left. Now I'm gonna start going through the top. Once I have the sides dried how I'd like it. Again, we're still gonna go through and do our tapering, and I'm gonna make sure that these sides lay super slick down for him while staying in the structure of what we're achieving. So the top, I'm gonna be going towards the root. I'm gonna lift it at the root, dry it there, and then I'm gonna comb it backwards because this is gonna go for that pomp look where it has a lot of volume and then it lays flatter, but we're still keeping a rounded silhouette towards the back here.
But I mean, that's where the Beatles are originated from.
What is this we're talking about?
Liverpool. Big cities, you got Birmingham, which is like if you've seen the Peaky Blinders, Thomas Shelby, that's like that kind of accent. Then you got Manchester, which is Manchester City, Manchester United, and then London's obviously one of the biggest cities in the world. So
I have friends that are in the industry. They run the Barber Evo magazine, and they're from over there, and they make fun of me because sometimes I'm sitting here trying to listen to them talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So after blow drying, I am taking my 1.5 guard open, and I'm meeting towards that line, and I'm making sure to flick out, but I'm not really touching the weight that's right in here. I'm gonna preserve that, but I just wanna start pulling this in towards his neck to really suck in the bottom of the silhouette.
I just think I've got a super protruding occipital bone, so I think that's where people
struggle a little bit.
Yeah. Because when guys come in and they're like, yeah, man, my girlfriend doesn't like when I have my hair like that. I'm like, dude, you're a grown ass man. You can let your girlfriend or wife tell you how to have your hair, you know?
Yeah, like for me, it's like, I like the consideration. Like, you know, what do you think? But at the end of the day, I'm still gonna do exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I feel that. But for me, I always get put in a really weird situation, I feel like. I mean, you know, everybody has different levels of confidence, right? And I mean, I'm confident in myself, very much so, to the point where I also, if I know somebody's gonna be uncomfortable, I just wanna get rid of that, that uncomfortable feeling right away.
Yeah, people make a lot of things way deeper than it needs to be, you know?
I agree. I've connected and blended the sides and the scissor work into the clipper work using a lot of clipper over comb. Now I'm gonna go through, and we want a pretty heavy contrast here. So I'm gonna do like a low to mid taper, definitely skinned out, and then we're gonna go through and edge them up, taper the back in the process, and then we'll get back into the styling and do the finishing touches. I have my no guard lever all the way open, and I'm creating a soft guideline with this. Slowly going through all of the levers until I'm all the way closed.
I think when everyone thinks of a New York accent, you know, they always think,
it's like,
you know,
super hard Jersey.
Yeah, like the Sopranos or something.
Yep.
You know? Okay, what are you doing over there?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like Brooklyn, like all that. Because I definitely feel like I sound different, but
yeah,
like,
you definitely don't sound like I think there's a lot of places in America where in England you could pinpoint someone's accent to where they're from, but sometimes in America you speak to someone and they just have a box standard generic American accent. You know?
Guys, I'm just gonna go through, edge them up and explain that for the camera, and then I'm gonna just do all detail work. Probably take me 10 minutes probably to get it all where I want it. So now I'm gonna go through, after I've established a foundation for both of my tapers, I'm gonna use the Low Pro FX trimmers, and they also have the Blue FX blade on them. These things are definitely hitters. And then after I edge them up, we're gonna get into styling and do some detail work and really put the finishing touches on here. I am gonna go through here and do some point cutting in order to make that hair mesh like we spoke about earlier. So let's do it.
That's why I want to see how Josh videos come out, because I want to see this one.
There we go.